Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ACES, and good morning to our students who are doing their modules for our week 2. Now, in order for you to be given a guide in our week 2 based on the most essential learning competencies given to us by DepEd, I crafted this simple video presentation powered by Microsoft PowerPoint. And teachers can also share this to their students so that they will be given also the digital lecture. Now, for the week 2 of English 7, we'll be dealing on distinguishing oral and written language used. Now, before we proceed to our discussion, what may be your concept when you say oral language and written language? How do they are different? How do they are alike? And when to use oral language and when to use the written language? Now, in order to give you a simple information about this one, on the what's in, language is basically a system of communication where sounds or signs convey objects, actions, and ideas. It is the key to human lives. They can eliminate misunderstanding by using it as an instrument to transfer communication among people. Now, when we say language is a system of communication, it involves sounds, the phonemics, and how you pronounce, and it also involves signs, the letter, and the symbol. When you combine the sound, when you combine the symbol, you will be having a form of communication. You try to convey objects, you try to convey actions, or you try to convey your ideas. Now, it is said to be key to human lives because without language, without communication, we cannot understand each other. It will be our avenue on how we express and how we communicate and how we transfer our inner ideas so that other people or other individual possibly deduce your concept. Now, it's said to be the instrument to transfer communication among people. That's correct. Now, if we try to elaborate, we'll be focusing on the written language and oral language. Now, on this particular side, we'll be dealing first with the oral language. It is designed to be listened to and to sound conversational, which means that word choice must be simpler, more informal, and more repetitive. It is about communicating with other people, which needs the process of applying thinking, knowledge, and skills in order to speak and listen effectively. Gestures and body movements are essential in oral language. Now, from the word itself, when we say oral, it is the sound, it is on how we speak, how we convey our idea through speaking. Usually, oral language is designed to be listened and to sound conversational. When we say conversational in Filipino, pakikipagtalastasan o pakikipag-usap sa simpleng pamamaraan. Now, in order to sound conversational in the oral language, the word choice must be simpler. You should not choose any highfalutin or high-sounding words. They are more informal. You can talk just like you are talking to your friends, you are talking to your family, or you are talking to any of your relatives, and more repetitive. Sometimes in oral language, redundancy of or repetition is a must because we try to put emphasis on what we are saying. Now, it is about communicating with other people, which needs the process of applying thinking, knowledge, and skills in order to speak and listen effectively. Now, in order to communicate well using the oral language, you should have a very good speaking and listening skill because that would be only the avenue wherein you can have an exchange of your ideas. Now, in order to augment the processing in the oral language, gestures and body movements are essential in oral language as well. You can incorporate your facial expression, the movement of your hands, the movement of your eyes, and even any body movements that can signify your idea through that particular movement. Now, on the other hand, we already discussed oral language pertaining to the sound on how we speak conversationally. Now, for the written language, it uses a larger vocabulary and it's more formal and precise. The writer can write and rewrite at great length, thus, some may be done until years. Written outputs can be well kept and preserved for a long period of time. Now, in contrary with the oral language, written language has a larger vocabulary. You will not only necessitate to use simple words, but you are encouraged to expand your vocabulary. It is more formal, of course. For an example, you are talking to your boss through an email, or your teacher, you are submitting your work, or you are sending your report in your company. You should be a bit more formal compared to the oral language. And it should be precise. No redundancy will be included. We should avoid the dead woods of the English grammar structure. Only what we need to do is to be direct, to be precise, and to be exact on what we are saying. It's not conversational, it's not informal, and written language is a formal type of language wherein it involves writing a business letter, writing a resignation letter, or any form of letters or messages via electronic mail or printed mail. You can have it as long as you adhere with the rule of the written language. Now, written outputs can be well kept and preserved for a long period of time. The difference between the preservation of the oral language. If oral language is not recorded, it was given to you on the spot, you cannot preserve it, you cannot replay it. Unlike the written outputs, as long as it is printed, you have the copy of it, the soft copy or the hard copy, you can still read it anytime and you can still preserve them for a longer period of time. Now, in order to practice what we have learned in the oral language and the written language, as I mentioned in the previous slides, let's have this activity. Read each scenario given 10. Identify the language needed to be used. Write O for oral or W for written on the blanks. Now, we have this example. The girl is excited to tell her mom about her field trip experience. Is it oral or written? A young professional is busy in preparing his letter of application. Miss Gabino teaches her students how to read. Hanilet is starting collecting ideas for her essay. My mother wants the company to know her complaints regarding the appliances she bought. Now, for number 1, the correct answer would be oral. The girl is excited to tell her mom about her field trip experiences. Because it's just only a simple conversation. You are very excited to tell your mom about the field trip. The next one would be written, because we have the clue here, letter of application. You are writing a formal letter to your company. Next, Miss Gavino teaches her students how to read. That would be oral, because if you are facilitating learning to your students with a wide range of gap when it comes to knowledge, you can make it conversational. Next, Hanilet is starting collecting ideas for her essay. That will be W for written. And my mother wants the company to know her complaints regarding the appliances she bought. That would be written as well. Now, let's proceed to another form. For number 6 to 10, my neighbors enjoy the food they are eating. That guy always uses slang words. A group of students gathers data about their case study. The scribe prepares the minutes of the meeting. Finally, the CEO sent the final report. For number 6, we have the oral. My neighbors enjoy the food they are eating. That guy always uses slang words would be oral as well. Slang words refer to words that you borrowed from other foreign words, but you put it in a bit of Filipino, or sometimes they call it masalitang balbal, or the colloquial one. Next, a group of students gathers data about their case study. That would be written. That's correct. And number 9, the scribe prepares the minutes of the meeting. That would be written as well, formal. And finally, the CEO sent the final report. That would be written, because number 8, 9, and 10 pertains to the letter and a written form in a formal manner. Next, identify if the phrase deals with oral language or written language. Write OL if it is oral and WL if it is written on a separate paper. A mother who is teaching her child how to read. A college student studying his thesis for his final defense. A newspaper article being read by an old man while having his coffee. Boys and girls talking about their sports fest. A lady submitting her letter of resignation to her boss. Now, write OL if it is oral and WL if it is written. For number 2, we have number 1, a mother who is teaching her child how to read. That would be oral language. Number 2, a college student studying his thesis for his final defense. That would be written language. Number 3, a newspaper article being read by an old man while having his coffee. That would be written language. Number 4, boys and girls talking about their sports fest. That would be oral language. Number 5, a lady who is submitting her letter of resignation to her boss. That would be written language. Now students, if you have insufficient time answering this activity, you can pause the video so that you will be given enough time on choosing it's either oral or written. Let's continue. We have already a bonus for number 9. That will be WL if I'm not mistaken. Okay, parents who are playing with their little ones. Number 7, a student buying from Sari Sari store. Number 8, a sales lady offering her best-selling product. Number 9, an employee preparing for her project proposal. And number 10, a doctor giving prescription to the patient. Number 6 would be oral language. 7 would be oral language. Number 8 would be oral language. Number 9, as our bonus, would be written language. And number 10 would be a written language as well. Now, there you have it, on distinguishing the oral language and written language in the most essential learning competencies of the English 7. Now, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe so that you will be notified to the next videos that we will be crafting. Now, you can share it as well to your friends so that they will learn a bit, or we will be serving this as a guide for their time in answering their module for week 2. Now, that will be all. Happy learning everyone. So long, Edu Kalidad.